Good morning, this is Dominic with TheBackVlog, talking about a piece of media that I took absolutely no notes for, in which the subject matter is very heavy. And I also played it a week ago. So I played Spec Ops: The Line on the PS3, and you know, this thing was incredibly short. I knocked this thing out basically in one sitting. It took a few hours, but yeah, one sitting nonetheless. But its length is not suggestible of nothing to say. Obviously, the subject matter, if you're in the know of this game, is very heavy. I'm not going to talk too much about it because there are droves and droves of essays and analysis on the impact that this thing had. All the things that have been said about it are sentiments that I share, so I may be repeating everything that everybody else has said. Firstly, I think the most important thing to consider when talking about this game is the context in which it came out, in terms of the video game landscape at the time. It is like a generic, like, military shooter, and you know, in the late 2000s, early 2010s era, the industry was flooded with military shooters. I had said in a previous video that, you know, I wish I grew up with like Nintendo games. The games I grew up with were military shooters, among other things. But like, you know, your Call of Duties and your Battlefields is what I remember playing a lot back in the day. Which, you know, a middle school student shouldn't have been. I think a game like this was necessary in the ocean of military shooters because, you know, in the cases of all those other games, they serve as kind of like a glorification of war, and, you know, it's basically like experiential propaganda. I don't know if experiential is a word, but I'm just going to say that. It basically made you the unstoppable superhero of shooting people. And, you know, this game, like, it gives you all the tools to make you feel that way as well. But when you realize that, and it's not like you don't realize it from the very beginning, but when you start the game for the first time and you realize that your enemies are American soldiers, and depending on which route you take, citizens as well, just regular citizens of Dubai, feeling like an unstoppable superhero with a gun doesn't seem like the most fun thing in the world. I think what this game had to say about the atrocities of war and how it affects people on an individual level with PTSD and everything, I feel like that was not only unique for the time, but also necessary for the time, because I feel like all the people who played those military shooters back in the day didn't really think anything of shooting other people. You know, it's just a video game. But I think, at least for me, and I know there are a lot of people my age back then who now are still playing Call of Duty and like your Battlefields and whatnot, but and then I don't know about like any adults from back then too, but you kind of forget what you're doing whenever you're having fun. I don't want to say this game was fun because like it is like very generic, but it is constantly reminding you why you shouldn't be having fun. I guess it's pretty obvious that this thing takes a lot of inspiration from Joseph Conrad's Heart of Darkness, and then, you know, by proxy, Apocalypse Now. I've never read Heart of Darkness, but I've seen Apocalypse Now several times, and it is really interesting that they're taking that story, but what they ended up turning it into, because you have the rogue soldier, and you have the main character trying to get deep into the heart of darkness, to find and neutralize him. But then this game kind of like changes that up a little bit, where you slowly start to realize, I guess like midway through the game, that you're the soldier that's gone rogue. And, by the end of it, the person that you thought you were chasing the whole time isn't there. I thought that was a really interesting spin on the story. I think it's really a shame. I heard this game got delisted, I guess, from like Steam stores or something. I don't know if you can get it digitally anymore, like on PC or anything. I'm sure it's possible, maybe. I really don't know if you can get it like legally anymore. I don't really follow that space at all, but it's really a shame that pretty soon this game is going to be inaccessible, and it's for music licensing. That's the reason why it got delisted, because there are there are licensed tracks in here that like I recognize from like films and stuff. This thing needs to be experienced by people, and before it gets to be an exuberant price, you should probably go seek it out, because who knows how the future of this game is going to look. My fiance was watching me play this last week. It was, I'm not going to say the day, because this won't come out the day that I'm recording this. But she was like, I didn't think you would be the type of person to play this. And I'm really not. This is the only like type of like game like this I have. Like I have the Doom games as far as like first person shooters go, but like that's really it. I don't really play stuff like this, not like I used to. But I feel like this is different, because this is like a really good novel. It's a really profound piece of art that addressed something that wasn't being addressed at the time, and is definitely being addressed nowadays, because the indie video game space is exploding, and it has been exploding for years. And there are like other games that do explore the same concepts, but I feel like, and I could be wrong, correct me if I'm wrong in the comments, feel free to leave a comment on anything if you ever have any thoughts. But I feel like this was the game that started the conversation about PTSD and war atrocities. I don't really have anything else to say, so as to avoid just repeating what everybody else has said. But yeah, this thing was incredible. I guess another thing I have to say is that, and I'm pretty sure this has been said too, but another theme that it keeps delving into is the topic of choice. Like you had a choice to do all the things you do in this game. Even though there are some parts where they don't give you a choice, but that kind of goes into the meta narrative of you, the player, had the choice to pick up and play this game to begin with. You chose to play a military shooter, and you chose to kill other people. You didn't choose for those people to be Americans or civilians, but you did choose nonetheless. And I think that's really, important too. People don't have a choice when it comes to the things in the game, but they do have a choice when it comes to having started the game to begin with. This game was really good. I'm sure I will say it is really incredible as the time goes by and I have more time to like think about it. But as of right now, you know, gameplay wise, it wasn't anything special, but thematically, it was definitely something incredible. That I will say. The themes were incredible. The game itself was plain. Robin thinks so too, right?